for the test on graphing upcoming. The first aspect of this review will be intercept graphing. For intercept graphing, it's different because this is the first time we've seen in graphing where you have two variables on the same side. We have an x variable and we have a y variable. In order to solve these, I have to substitute a 0 for one of the variables and then solve and then repeat the process. I will demonstrate on this first one. So I will put a 0 in for my x right here. You will notice when you put a 0 in for x, that crosses it out. That leaves me with just y equals 3. So for my ordered pair, my x was 0 and my y was 3. I will graph that first point. That's over 0 and up 3. Now I need to redo this process, but insert a 0 for my other variable. So I have my same equation. I inserted my 0 for my x last time. Now I insert the 0 for y. Again, that cancels that out. All I have left is x equals 3. So in my ordered pair, my x is 3, my y is 0. I will do that second point. X is 3 over 3 up 0. What I have just done is I have made a perfect line, and that is how we graph an intercept. If you feel comfortable doing this problem, please pause your recording now. All right, as always, when we graph intercepts, there are two variables. I will start by putting my 0 in for x. When I put a 0 in for x, 2 times 0 is 0, so that cancels that out. All I have left is y equals 2. When I write that in an ordered pair, I have 0 for my x and my 2 is for y. Now, I have my same equation as the beginning. When I put my 0 in for y, because I put in for x last time, that crosses that out. I have 2x equals 2. As you remember from earlier in the year in our algebra, we need to get the variable by itself. In order to do that, we do the inverse. The 2 and the x are being multiplied right now. The inverse of multiplication is division. So I divide by 2, divide by 2. That is x equals 1. My ordered pair is 1 for x and 0 for y. So when I graph those, I'll start with my first one. That's over 0 up 2. And these are all color-coded for you. And then my x is 1, my y is 0. And again, we have graphed our intercepts. Here is your last practice problem. Please pause your recording now and complete it. All right. So again, I'm going to start with putting a 0 in for my y. I'll put my ordered pair up top. A 0 goes in for my y. That leaves me with 2x after that's crossed out. 2x equals 6. When I need to get x by itself, so I divide by 2. Divide by 2, I am left with x equals 3. My ordered pair is 3, 0, which means I go over 3 and up 0. There is my first dot. Now I rewrite my equation and flip it. So 2x plus 3y equals 6. Since I put a 0 in for y last time, I'm going to put a 0 in for x. That crosses that out. I have 3y equals 6. Got to get y by itself. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. Y equals 2. My ordered pair for that is 0 for x and 2 for y. When I graph that out, that is over 0 up 2, and I have made my intercept line. That is the end of graphing intercepts. If you have any questions, please come see me. The second part of this test review is linear systems graphing. It is important when you do this that you are very exact. Since I am working on the smartboard, my numbers or my lines may not be exact, but you'll see I have the solution for each one of these below, which I will show you how to do. So you have two equations for each of these. And whenever we have these two equations, our goal is to find where they intercept. The point where they intercept is the solution. So let's start with my first equation, and I will do this in blue. Everything will be color-coded for you. As you remember from slope, this right here, what is not attached to x, is our y-intercept. It is -2, so I put my first dot at -2. Now, it is -2x. When there is nothing underneath the number, a 1 goes underneath there, and you'll remember from slope, we do rise over run. Okay, -2 over 1 means I go down 2, 1, 2, and over 1. I'm going to do the opposite to give me a good line, so that's over 2, up 1, over, I'm sorry, up 2, over 1, and there I can make a perfectly straight line, which you'll notice all my lines on this review are absolutely perfectly straight. The next one I will do is y equals x minus 5. That means I start at, let me bring my board down. I start at -5, and x means 1x, because there's only nothing next to it, so that's a 1, and over 1, which means I go up 1, over 1, up 1, over 1. Then I draw this line straight. Remember, use a ruler. You'll notice they intersect right here. The point where they intersect is my solution. So, since it goes over 1 and down 4, my solution is 1, -4. That is my solution, and that is my answer. Look for where they intersect. If you feel comfortable doing this problem, please pause, and that way you can check yourself. Okay, so let's start with my first line, which I'll do in red. My y-intercept is -3, and I have 1/2. Even though it is a fraction, it is still rise over run. So back and forth versus up and down. 1/2 means I rise 1 and I run 2. I rise 1 and I run 2. Once I have that, I can make a line. My second equation I will do in blue. Since there is no y-intercept, you'll notice that means I start my graph at 0. It is 2x, which means I rise 2, run 1. Rise 2, run 1. Now, this is a common problem often students run into. These lines don't look like they're going to intercept. What you have to remember is that lines go on forever in each direction. So actually, if you keep drawing your lines, they will eventually intercept. If I would have drawn these lines perfectly straight, my solution would have been right here at -2, 4, which means over 2 in the negative direction, and down 4, and this would have been my solution. Here we go. So again, if you feel like this is easy, please pause the recording now. I'll move quicker on this one by request. So checking your work. If this one starts at -1, this one will be in blue. It's 2x. Remember, if it's over nothing, that's over a 1. So up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, and I draw my line. As you can tell, I have a talent for drawing perfectly straight lines freehand. Next one starts at +4. There's my dot, which means I go down 3 because it's -3x and over 1. Down 1, 2, 3 over 1. Down 1, 2, 3 over 1. And here is my other line. you will see that these two lines intercept right there, and that appears to be over 1 for